Welcome back to Bridal University with Ebony.
And Zoe. So we did film our third episode last week, and then something funky is happening with our computer audio where we use a recording device and it echoed over each other. So for a good 5 to 6 minutes, you couldn't understand what we were saying. So we're re-recording episode 3 together. And now we already know what we're going to talk about, so it'll be
even more interesting.
Yeah.
And
more to
fun.
the point.
Yeah.
We've had some more experience too, even just this weekend. So we have a lot to talk about.
For sure.
If you don't remember, last episode we ended with asking the question, how many people should you bring to your bridal appointment? And that's what this whole episode is going to be about. So you said...
last week and I said 1, and then I joked. I was like, I wish. But no, about 3 to 4. And like I said last week, I know 4 sounds like a small number, but when you're talking about people and personalities, and it can get a lot. So 4 sounds like a little bit, but as we go and give examples of why that number is significant, I think you'll agree at the end.
Yeah, I would say 3 to 4. I think everybody just thinks about TV shows and what they do in movies and bringing their whole bridal party and all their bridesmaids, but it's actually a bit more overwhelming, I think, than people think. We talked about last episode how brides often get nervous already just coming to an appointment, so then having to cater to all of these other people and their personalities.
And it becomes a lot.
It does, yeah. And it's very easy for us to tell when a bride gets overwhelmed by the guests, so I think we do have a lot of experience in the psychology of brides and bridal appointments and things like that.
Yes.
Because it can get overwhelming, not for the fact that, you're picking out a wedding dress that's already, a bit stressful enough, but then you have to entertain all these people that you brought with.
Yeah.
And
then if you like something that someone else doesn't like, you kind of gotta then you feel like you're kind of talking them into it, right? Then you're well, I like it because, and then as a stylist, we kind of have to jump in. And I think we play such a key role in it because we want to keep family and we want to keep bride happy. So we kind of play the middle ground, or I know sometimes with mothers and daughters, that's a huge thing.
yeah.
So we'll get into dynamics and everything in a bit.
Hi everyone, this is Zoe here. I'm just letting you guys know that the audio might start to get a little bit wacky in the next few minutes, but bear with us, it does get much better. We're still trying to figure out our microphone, so we appreciate your patience while we figure everything out. Yeah, there's just a lot when you're bringing people to a bridal appointment. It's a lot for a stylist too, because we also have to kind of help entertain and know when to step in and say something.
Yeah.
So I say the less amount of people you bring, the better. And I know a lot of people might not agree with that or be like, well, I'm the bride. I feel like I should, be able to bring as many people as I want. And you're right. You can.
But you'll thank us later.
Yeah. You'll thank us when you have your small, intimate group. It's really not like a TV show. And I think people are looking for that,
drama.
Yeah, that, big, massive experience, but it's so much better when it's an intimate appointment with the people that are going to, one, be helpful to your experience. If you have people just coming there just to take pictures of you and say that they went, that's not really helpful. You want people there who are going to help encourage you, make you feel good about yourself, who are going to let you say your own opinions. That's really important and something really big to think about.
It is. I think if people, if you're self-conscious and there's someone that kind of makes you feel uncomfortable or less confident, keep that in mind. I know sometimes I've seen sisters play a role. Either they could be really supportive, or because they have that sister role, and I see a lot of times sisters want to please the other one, whether it's little or bigger, but then they also have this thing where well, she's 2 sizes smaller than me, it gets things start coming out in these appointments. So just keep all that in mind when you're planning to bring just think about the dynamic of everyone you have, the relationships that you have with people, and,
Oftentimes, too, we've had, a bride who comes in with, like, her friend of forever and her sister, and then she's like, well, my mom is very opinionated. I, want to pick my dress out and then come back and bring her once I have it picked out. So then she can't, say anything if it's the dress that I really like, or the case with, like, their sister being like that, or, somebody else. So there can be a 2 appointment step like that. If you still want someone to feel included, but you don't want them to be a part of, like, the decision appointment. That happens a lot, where sometimes we have brides who are in the store with their parents or with their siblings or whatever, and they say, I want to come back by myself to try on these dresses.
Yeah, I was going to say, I see that a lot, where people will start with the bigger group, and then once they narrow it down to, like, what they like maybe they, like, now selected a size, a silhouette, and, like, a theme, then they'll be like, okay, I'll come back a little later and, like, pick at least I gave them the experience. Now I can, like, come back now that I know what I like and what I have narrowed down. So I think that that's something, too, that I see a lot.
Yeah. And that's really okay, too. Like, whatever works for you as the bride, you can always do. You don't always have to listen to us, but we work daily with brides. This is just our advice to you guys, because we see a lot of brides who do get stressed out, or we see, often too, a lot of brides that will shut down at an appointment because, all the comments, and they're like, I don't want to put any more on, when they have, like, 5 more that could be the one.
Yeah. And I think I mentioned this before, but also keep in mind when bringing people, we talked about bringing, like, little kids sometimes. Of course, you may want to show your little sister, even your child, but just keep in mind, like, keeping a child occupied for that long, it is a process. It can be distracting sometimes, especially depending on the age, the tolerance, like, it just gets, because it's not like a playground here, so they do kind of have to sit still, so just keep that in mind too, because I have a couple moms who, like, come back later, they're like, I can't concentrate, like, what mom doesn't want to provide to the baby when they're crying, so they're, like, running back and forth, so they end up having to come back, and it's not a successful appointment. So just keep all that in mind too when planning.
Yeah. If you have a kid that's, like, is capable of sitting, or, we're not expecting a kid to sit silently the whole time. They can go around and look. But if you have a child who is a runner, who likes to touch everything, who, wants to just constantly be moving and stuff, that might not be the best to bring to an appointment, because, like you said, it's very distracting.
It's distracting. You get overwhelmed easily.
And there's always an opportunity to bring them back.
Yeah.
For a smaller appointment. Come see my dress,
Yeah, like when you do a fitting.
Yeah. When you do, there are other times when your dress arrives, you could bring your kid. That's usually, like, a shorter appointment for our store.
That's true.
Our first, like, try on after the dress arrives. That's usually, like, a 15 to 20 minute appointment, which is much better than an hour or longer. Yeah. So just keep in mind the temperament of your child. Keep in mind, do you always get stressed out? Do you have somebody that's coming to the appointment with you that can, really help you with the child and isn't going to let you, have to do everything? So that's something important to keep in mind. But
should we hop into some, like, ground rules?
Maybe? Yeah, let's hop into some ground rules. So if you are a bride and you've decided on your people, you might want to send them some of our ground rules. This helps you, the bride. It also helps the stores that you're working with.
And I think, like, you can put it on us, like, some of the information you might want to tell someone, but you don't know how to bring it to them, so you can just blame it on me and Joe and be like, I watched this podcast and they had some, like, really good information that I want to share as a group. You can put it in a group chat, like, fast forward to minute 13 and they have some good information, or whatever minute this is, and just, like, check it out, and that way you can cover the grounds without offending someone,
Yeah. And, you know, it's just like when your mom tells you when you're growing up, like, oh, if you need to leave a party, just say that, you know, I'll come pick you up and that, you know, I need you home. Just be like, yeah, Zoe and Ebony told me.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying, I don't know, some of the stuff is a little weird, but I don't know what you guys think about it. You can even say that, like, you know, but I think it is good if you're getting ready for an appointment, or even if you're someone who's going with someone soon to, like, look around, maybe send it to the bridal party for the bride. If you see some good information, just so everyone's kind of on the same page, because it's not every day that you go dress shopping.
No.
So if you've never done it, there could be some things that you don't even think twice about. And, you know, you could be coming off a certain way. You don't even know it because you don't know. How do you know if you've never done something? So we do understand that too. So this is just kind of like a guide.
Yeah. I feel like, too, when you say a lot of people haven't gone dress shopping, I feel like when all our brides come in, the last time they went dress shopping was like prom.
Yeah.
Prom is very different than
so
wedding
different.
dress shopping. So if your mom or your friends last time they went dress shopping with you was for prom, this is a whole other
different
ball game. This
process,
is completely different.
Yeah.
So.
And we want to seem inviting. You know what I mean? Like, that's my biggest thing. I love to set like standards and like a ground rule, but we love to do it in like such a like inviting, nice way. Like, I hope that we don't come across like, don't do this and don't, like, that's not how we, because like we're like, if you've been here, if you know, like, we're so nice and we're so kind, but I just think that it's helpful to give this information, you know, before you come in. So.
Yeah. And even if any of you stylists out there or managers of bridal stores, whatever, if you want to use our clip, reference it to your brides, helps us out, and hopefully it'll help you guys out too. So let's jump in. We have them in our
little handbook.
Our little handbook.
We're gonna use our handbook today.
Okay.
You want to go with number 1? All right.
Okay.
So number 1, be honest, but don't be hurtful. And I saw something on social media that said the same thing. It was like, I'm that honest, truthful, like, friend, no matter how hard it hurts. And like, you don't have to be like rude and hurtful to be honest. Like, I think sometimes we pair those together, and it's easy to be honest without hurting someone's feelings. And I think like, if someone's bringing you to an appointment, you guys are close enough so you know them. You know what's gonna hurt. You know what's gonna, like, keep that in mind. And don't just blame it on your personality. Don't just say, well, I'm just that person. No, like, be respectful, and this is a big day, and the bride is on a platform, and all eyes are on her, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Like, it could be intimidating.
The biggest tip that I'll give for anybody who is that I'm honest, but, you know, whatever, when you're making those comments, be honest about the dress. Don't be saying comments about
the person in the dress. Yes.
Ooh, I don't like the way you look in that dress.
Yeah,
no.
like,
Instead, I don't
body
like the way that
parts.
dress fits on you.
Yeah.
There are
that
other ways
just is
to say
nothing
it.
for you. Like, blame it on the dress. You know what I mean? Like sometimes if a bride puts on a dress and it kind of falls flat, I always say, oh, you could do so much better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not you, it's the dress. Like, oh, we can go. Like, I love that. Like, blame it on the dress. It's not the bride.
No. Never say any comments towards the bride about size. If a dress doesn't fit perfectly, there's things you should and shouldn't say. So sometimes we have dresses that are too big on a bride and we have to clip it, and it doesn't always look perfectly right. And that's something to be mindful of too. Sometimes it's a little too small and we have to add expanders in the back. That happens. So don't make a comment about that part of it, you know, because that's out of our control. It's out of the bride's control. We're looking at the details on the dress, not the exact fit right now. And some bridal stores are lucky enough to have multiple sizes, but a lot aren't. A lot only get one size per dress, or sometimes if they're lucky, 2 for the popular ones.
And I love that. Talk about sizing. Did we get into that at all yet? How sizes flow and run? I think
we did a little bit in the last appointment.
Okay.
Yeah. Last episode, not appointment. Oh my god.
So because of sizing, because in bridal it's so different, it can fluctuate in anywhere between 2 to 3 sizes. I think that that's already in a bride's mind, right? Like, you come in, you think you're a size 8, and now we're putting you in like 12, 14 dresses. So imagine if that dress still doesn't fit right. Imagine someone commenting on that. Like, that's already in the bride's mind. Let's not keep it going. Like, you know, like, we want to make her feel as confident as possible. We want to make her feel good and feel beautiful. So if you're coming with them on that day, just make sure that that's what you're focused on.
Yeah. And going off of that leads right into rule number 2. Always let the bride say her opinion on the dress first.
Can we just like
Let her
give
breathe.
that a moment? Like
Yeah.
give that one a moment of
Yeah.
its own. That is like so huge because I know a lot of times here we don't have mirrors in the dressing rooms,
No.
right? So when the bride is seeing the dress, she hasn't seen it yet. So imagine her not being able to get to the mirror before someone saying like, oh my gosh, no, like, oh, I hope you don't like this one. It's like you kind of shot it down before the
Yeah.
bride could even see it themselves. Like, it's just...
It's not an appropriate thing to do, first of all, because you're there for her. You're not there to be a judge. It's not a
It's not a
competition show.
Yeah.
Just let her get up there. Give her like 15 seconds. Don't even ask, do you like it? Don't say anything.
Don't say anything.
Let her take it in for a few seconds. And even you stylists out there, you should not be making any comments about the dress or telling about any details until the bride gets a look or starts asking about it. You should just let them breathe for that few seconds to let them get a feel. Bridal is all about feel. It's not always about look. It's how they feel in the dress.
And sometimes I see the bride processing, especially if it's a dress that caught them off guard, they weren't going to try on. Maybe they're liking something that they didn't think they were going to like. Let the person process. Like,
Yeah.
I think so many times when they have a group of like 4 and everyone's like, what do you like? Do you like the chain? Do you like the beading? Do you like the this? Do you like, and they're like, oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it takes them out of that moment.
Oh, yeah.
The bride will let you know. Go off of the bride. If the bride is being quiet, you be quiet.
Yeah.
If the bride starts crying, you can cry. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I don't know. Just go off of the bride. Like, we're all here for the bride.
Yeah.
This is about the bride. Whatever the bride needs, let's do that.
Yep. And the next one, do you want to read from the handbook?
Oh, right. Oh, well, I
basically
kind of
what
already
you just
said it.
said.
Number 3, the appointment is about the bride. Always from beginning to end.
Yeah.
That's pretty self-explanatory. Like, we do everything in our power to make sure the bride is comfortable, confident, having a great time. We want to keep the bride upbeat. We want to like be a part of that. If you're coming that day, make sure like you know this bride more than we just met the bride 2 seconds ago. So I'm pretty sure if we can kind of grasp the concept of that, if you're coming with the bride, it should be a little bit easier for you.
Yeah. I think something, too, to keep in mind that I think a lot of brides, it's kind of like held over their head. If you have a family member or significant other, somebody who is promised to purchase the dress for you, and they're using that as like a tactic to make you pick the dress that they want,
That's not cool.
it's not cool. Maybe
for
have a
yourself.
conversation with them, like, I appreciate that you want to pay for it, but at the end of the day, I'm still the one that has to wear
Yeah.
this dress. And I think that's something for your guests to keep in mind, too. Like, no matter how much they think you'd look great in this style or that
Yeah.
style, it's
not
not their
obligated.
wedding day. They don't have to sit in that dress.
No. They don't
So
have to
many
look back at
times-
pictures and
Yeah. So many times I get brides that come in, I want a ball gown or I want an A-line. And they're like, size 4, size 6. And the guests and the parents won't let it go. Like, why won't you try one that fits you? Why won't you try one that fits you? Why don't you like that style? And it's either 1, a self-confidence issue, and they don't want to be
was just
in
gonna
a
say
fitted
that.
dress. 2, fitted dresses can be uncomfortable. If you're a very comfortable person, not every fitted dress is
Yeah.
going to be comfortable. You're going to be sitting up straight the whole night. You're going to be able to dance and stuff. You're going to be able to move, but it's not going to be as free as a ball gown. So if you're a guest that's trying to push somebody into a, silhouette that they don't want, don't do that
not
because
cool,
they don't want it. They've already decided. And if they try on one and they say, no, this isn't it, don't keep putting them in it because they
We've
don't
seen-
want it.
Yeah, we've seen like some brides like kind of break down because of that. At least I've seen where they want to please the guest, but they feel so uncomfortable in the dress, and it kind of leaves like a mark on the appointment, right? Because
Yeah.
now we kind of got to get that energy back up. We got to get them confident again. We have to like do all the work. It's like we're redoing everything, and one dress can ruin that. So if a bride is giving pushback, I know last time we said that we want to challenge the bride, right? We want to like make sure that the bride is seeing all the options. But at the end of the day, if you're getting a lot of pushback, it's also okay. We also need to listen to the bride too.
Yeah.
So we kind of got to balance that out.
It's
So,
almost like pushing them towards different details. But
Yeah.
if they're really set on not having a fitted dress,
leave it alone.
there could be a deeper issue,
Yeah.
and you don't need to pull that out for them at an appointment. So,
Most of the time it is always cheaper.
yeah.
So,
But going off of that, I'd like to bring up the next rule, which is following the store's rules and just being respectful. Going off of that, like pushing brides into certain types, we have people who will roam around the store and pull dresses off the rack and bring them over to the brides, dresses that the bride said she clearly didn't want. And that's great that they're trying to show options, but at least at our store, it doesn't help the stylist, it doesn't help the bride, because a lot of times they'll pull dresses over, be like, oh, what about this one? And then, the bride will be like, oh, no, I don't think I want to try that one on. And then the dress is then left for us to go put back. So it's
or
like
even, yeah.
extra work for us, because then now we have to go put that dress back instead of spending time with the bride, or you're pulling out all these dresses and it's taking away from the appointment. If you are at an appointment, please stay seated unless asked.
You're invited to
Yeah.
we'll invite you.
Yeah.
And going off that point too, I think it's really sad when someone pulls a dress and the bride falls in love with it and it's not her size.
Yeah.
It's either too big and we're not going to be able to show it because you're not going to get the full look, or it could be too small and you just can't get in it. And I think that's also a key part to let the stylist do their job, because if you show me, the stylist, that dress, I can then go find a dress that's similar, that has some details that I know would be better for the bride,
Yeah.
whether it's size, maybe price, maybe you didn't see the price tag and now you're showing her a dress that's thousands of dollars outside of her budget. So now we kind of gotta, that's why I'm saying sometimes these rules can sound like, oh, they're being so, but there's reasons behind
Yeah.
them, that we want to protect the bride for. So
Not only do we want to protect the bride, but also we want to make the appointment, we want to make it, I can't even think of the word, intimate, cohesive, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact word
we
I'm
want to
looking
get the
for.
most out of it.
Yeah.
We want to be productive. We want to have
Yeah.
a productive, great, nicely flowing, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And if
I get what you mean.
your party keeps getting up to go pick other dresses and you're already waiting on the platform for them to come back, that takes time out of our appointment, and then, we got to go do all of that. How about if you want to see the bride in a certain style dress, or you want to recommend something, say, hey, do you have any dresses that have this, this, and this? And I could say, we do, but it's over budget, or we do, but I don't know if she'll like it, or we do, I'll bring it over. There are options, but when you start walking through our store and touching all the dresses and pulling them off, it makes our
get
job more
distracting,
difficult and makes the
yeah.
bride overwhelmed, because our party doesn't seem interested in seeing the dresses that she's already trying on.
Yeah.
So,
Makes her feel like she's not doing enough in the dresses that
No.
she has. And I see that all the time sometimes, where the bride will have more of a simple aesthetic. So they like it very clean,
Mm-hmm. simple,
and everyone keeps pulling dresses that have beading and lace and all these things.
Yeah.
And it's okay, so is this not enough? Is my style not speaking to you? Is this not good enough? So then it confuses the bride. So I don't know if you guys notice, we're all coming back to it's an issue for the bride, and
Yeah.
it goes against our rule. The appointment is about the bride. So
Yeah. Yeah, so just have respect and follow what your store, whatever store you go to has different rules. So, if you want to go look for stuff, some stores might have you go pull dresses for the bride, put a little clip on the dress, do whatever. Ask before you
yeah,
do.
just ask.
You made a good point in the episode we recorded before this about it being like someone's house, right?
Yeah, so if someone invites you over, you don't just run around their house and show yourself around and go in their fridge. I hope you don't. Go in their fridge and grab food and go around. Oh, let me look through your closet. Let me see what you have. And oh, look at these shoes. Let me try them on, right? You wait for that person to invite you into their space, to make you feel at home, to invite you, take off your shoes, sit here. You kind of wait for that person to do that. So kind of take that, you're walking into someone's space, right? This is our space. This
Yep.
is, so wait until we invite you. Okay, here's the dresses that we're thinking about. Do you want to shop with me? I do that a lot. So I'll do a first round with the bride, and then like a second round, the second round, I'll be like, hey, mom, want to come with me? Hey, aunt, hey, sister. And we'll do like a round, and then they'll show me the dresses. I'll take them off the rack. And we do that a lot. I think like, and I had an appointment recently. They were like, kind of like making fun, like, oh, I know you don't want us to touch the dress. And I'm like, well, actually, it's a benefit you too, because some of these dresses are really heavy and they look light, but I don't want you reaching up and grabbing a dress and now you're pulling something and you can be hurting yourself. So a lot of times, yes, we do want to protect the product, but we're also protecting you as well.
Yeah, but also, I don't think it's, fun to make fun of us for that, because a lot of the dresses that we carry in our store are sample dresses that are going to get sold as sample dresses eventually. If they are kept, well, and they're maintained well, that can be a really quality dress for someone in a few years. But if everybody's touching them, people aren't washing their hands before they come in the store, if they're mistreating them, throwing them on the ground, whatever, that is less likely that dress could become someone's, wedding dress someday. The more care that's taken to protect them, the better. And that means letting the experts take care of the dresses. And I know it's really frustrating, and I know everybody wants to have that experience where they get to run around in a bridal store. And I'm really sorry that we can't always provide that, but we also need to make sure that our merchandise is kept safe, is kept well maintained, and that things aren't falling off of it. And, we just want that dress to be able to be somebody else's someday.
That's true. I feel that, because sometimes even when we're like putting back dresses, we have a certain way that like we put them back to preserve the straps and the lace and the different details. So I get where you're coming from when you say that too. Yeah.
Well, our last rule kind of just ties into everything, and I'll make it quick because we'll have some other stuff to talk about before we end. But just respect for everyone, for the stylists, for the bride, for the guests.
RESPECT.
Yeah. Respect. Just, stylists out there, if you're not respecting your bride and their wishes or the guests' wishes, that's not good. Guests, if you're not respecting the bride or the stylist, that's not good. And brides, usually it's not the brides disrespecting anybody, but it does happen where, stylists are disrespected. And it's hard because I feel like a lot of people think, we are only focused on you and we only care about you. We do care about you guys a lot, but we have so many people on our plate. I think this year, or even just in my history of working in bridal, I've had over 70 brides. Here I've had about half of that number in only a couple months. That's a lot of people that I got to keep an eye on. On top of that, my coworkers' brides who might not be in that day. It's a lot of people to manage. A lot of
managing. Yeah.
So it's, a lot for us. And I get that people want to get upset and that there are things you should be upset about. But to show us some, kindness is going to go a lot further than, being mean to us. We want to help, and sometimes things do fall through the cracks. We're not proud to admit it, but it does happen, and we will do everything that we can to fix it. Not that we're, not ordering someone's wedding dress or things like that, but sometimes, there are shipping delays that we can't control, or, a strap isn't going to be put on exactly how, we thought we could when we were first doing consultations.
Yeah.
So basically all I'm saying is to, understand that we're trying our best to do everything for you, and we want you to be as happy as possible. That is our ultimate goal.
For sure. And I think to kind of like what you're saying, I see it more in the alteration process, where, if you're coming in with the bride and the dress is not looking how it's supposed to, make sure that you understand the process too. And you're not just jumping in and coming in for one appointment and just not understanding where we are in the process. So I think educating yourself before maybe you take it out on the seamstress or the stylist or something like that would be great too. I think all of it is just about just educating yourself and knowing how to handle certain situations. I think that's for the stylist, also for us, but also for the bride, also for everyone that you're bringing. If everyone just stays has the same goal of respect on your mind, I think that we can achieve, a lot.
I think also communication is good. We think about communication with our own like interpersonal relationships,
Yeah.
but with your stylist, it helps. If you're like coming in and you're already having a frustrating day, say, oh, I've had a lot going on with wedding planning. It's
For
been very
sure.
stressful. So then we have that in our mind, like, okay, if she's going to start, to get upset about something or frustrated, it's not directly our fault. It's a lot of other stress that's on her plate, That's the number one thing, that we always put ourselves in our bride's shoes because we know how stressful the whole wedding process can get. Like, we see it firsthand.
Yeah.
So we always try to put ourselves in the bride's shoes to understand them. And we hope that you guys can do the same for us sometimes, because we work so hard. We
To
work
make you happy.
really
Yeah,
hard.
we want to see, like, the goal is for success. Like, we're trying to set you up for success, us for success. We want to have a smooth, successful, happy bride at the end with a beautiful dress. Like, that's always the goal.
We want friendships too.
Yeah,
We want to be friends with our brides.
Yeah, we have like the greatest connections that still last after a bride leaves here with the dress. There's families that come like, oh, my sister came here and had a great experience, so now I'm coming. It's like a family tradition. Like, I had 2 weeks ago, a sister came and the little sister was like, I can't wait to come back. So like, we want to leave a lifetime long impression.
Yeah.
So help us do that. Like, come in and whatever you need. I always say to the bride coming in at the end after we introduce and we have like a little intake form, I always say at the end, tell me what I can do today to kind of help you feel comfortable or at ease, or is there something you need from me, that it's maybe not on that paper. Help me help you. Like, if you're having a day, should we start with some water? Are you okay? Like, tell me what's going on. Where are you at mentally? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make it a counseling session, but sometimes, we are here for that. If we need to take a debrief, you need to like just get out something before we jump in it, because the happier you are, the more confident you are, you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We could go on and on about, stories about this, and we see it, all the time. Things happen during appointments or, after appointments. And, we want to make everybody happy. We want to make sure everyone's having a good time while they're in our store. Yeah. And the more you communicate with us and are willing to put effort into this kind of relationship that we have, the better we can, move forward and have that kind of back and forth that's healthy, I think a lot of people kind of forgot that aspect of sales, and especially luxury retail like this, where it goes on for a couple of months. I think the pandemic made it very confusing too, how to like work with people, and it's the first time in a long time that we're seeing so many people in a day.
Everyone's on edge still, kind of. So it's different, definitely. I've worked retail and did management for a long time, and I will say COVID has definitely shifted a lot.
Yeah.
I think we're all still trying to get over and deal with this new world, and so we always keep all that in mind,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay. So let's finish up the appointment. We've said a lot. We've said a lot of feelings. We've said a lot of information. So just like we have been doing, we're going to end the podcast with a question. You ready?
Yes.
When should I start shopping for my wedding dress?
Such a good question.
Right? This is one that was submitted on our Instagram, by the way. So if you guys want to submit your own questions to be asked here on our episodes, go over to our Instagram, check out our highlight called questions, and you can ask your own question. Or you can go to our website at bridaluniversity.net and fill it out there.
Submit your questions, yeah. I would say a year and a half to a year is a good space to start searching.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that, you want to do it closer to the wedding, but really the more time that you have, the better. So what if your dress arrives 6 months before your wedding? Your dress is here. You have it. You don't have to worry. Stupid cars. Anyways, it's better to have it sooner than be trying to push out alterations a month before your wedding.
Yeah, and it's one thing less off your mind. Like, that's something that you're gonna stress about. Like, like that one thing. So I think a lot of times after a bride says yes, she's like, oh, that's done. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so happy now I can like have fun. Like
Yeah.
this is the most stressful thing. Like, what am I gonna wear? Like, so once that's done, it's kind of like
Yep.
up from there.
So, steps, find your crew, figure out the people that you want with you, that you feel like are going to lift you up and be a good addition to your appointment.
Yeah.
Book only a couple appointments. We talked about that last time, about how many appointments you should book. If you don't know, go watch that video. I won't tell you here. You have to go watch it.
Gotta watch it. Know your venue.
Yes. Know your venue, know your theme,
Your
all of
aesthetic.
that.
Yeah.
And then also do your research. Biggest thing. Do your research. Know the places that you're going to do appointments at. Know the styles of
style.
dresses that you're interested in.
Their price point.
Price point, all of that.
But don't tell them too much because they need to go watch. They need to go watch our last
yeah, you need to
episode
go
to
watch
find
the
out.
last
So we're
one.
not gonna fill you in.
No.
'Cause you gotta go watch it.
But that's our mini wrap up. So
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed our appointment talk today. This is not really heavy, but
No.
it's like
it's like,
yeah.
because like I said, I don't want us to come across like
No.
don't do this and don't do that. So I think that's why we were kind of like, it was like a little touchy and sensitive, I think.
Yeah.
This was a lot of feels. Like you said, like this was a lot of feelings. So
Yeah, but I feel like people who watch us will want to know a stylist's point of view.
Yeah.
And I
get
think
that
it's
a lot. Yeah.
it's helpful for brides to know how everyone's feeling, I think. So we don't speak for every bridal stylist or every
Yeah.
bridal company or whatever, but this is just our experience with it. We've both been in a few different stores, so we both have experienced a lot of different brides. We've been in it for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
this is just our experience. Take it with a grain of salt. Hopefully it'll help you make some decisions.
It would be cool one day to maybe have a bride share from their experience.
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be fun.
Do you guys have bridal experiences? Do you have a good store experience or a
Good
bad
stories?
store
Any
experience?
bads? We want to share, right? Like our perspective is great, but like we are not married.
No.
We've never we're not married. We've so it's great. Like we can talk from the professional, side of it, but it would be great to have the personal side of it. So that could be something we can look into.
If you are either in the process of getting married and have been to a few bridal appointments, or if you are already married and have a lot of experience with vendors and things like that, go to our website, leave us a response, and tell us your stories because we
Yes.
want to hear it.
Yes.
But enough from
excited for
us.
that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. We got to wrap up today's episode. So if you want to hear more about shopping for wedding dresses and things like that,
Yeah.
we can talk about it more next week.
You'll see us for episode 4. We're doing.
Yeah. All right.
right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.